Hello and welcome to another Cedar Creek Motorsports overview. This time we're going to be getting through the all-new CFMOTO UFORCE U10 Pro. Let's get to it. The 2025 CFMOTO UFORCE U10 Pro is not just an evolution of the already existing UFORCE 1000, but a brand new chassis that's been developed by CFMOTO. They also put in their all-new 3-cylinder engine with their freshly developed Omni drive push-to-shift transmission. Before we head to the back of the machine to dive into that all-new powertrain, CFMOTO has continued their tradition of giving you these awesome LED accent lights and these super bright LED headlights with LED high beams. They started giving you these lower fang lights as well, which at night when this thing's coming down the trail, it looks super awesome with all those LEDs lit up on there. Up front here, you'll notice we got our winch hook hanging out. This is gonna be your synthetic rope 4,500 pound winch that CFMOTO gives you from factory, which is really awesome. That's one of the really cool things that CFMOTO is doing, especially with these U10s now. They've always been giving you fully loaded units, and these U10s take it to a whole nother level. And as we step down to take a look at the rim and tire package they put on here, you'll notice CFMOTO has once again upped the ante. They are giving you 29-inch tires wrapped around 14-inch rims, but what is really awesome, if you'll look at the bolt pattern on here, that is a 5-bolt. It is going to be a 5 by 114.3 millimeter bolt pattern, also known as a 5 by 4.5. What's really cool with that is that really opens up the rim selection that you have for these machines. So if you want to put a different set of rims on there, you have a lot more choices for customizing these units. And with these 29-inch tires, paired with the arched A-arms that CFMOTO put on this machine, you are going to get 13 inches of ground clearance. That's going to be about 2 inches more than the CFMOTO UFORCE 1000 had. If you need even more ground clearance, you can fit 32-inch tires on these factory rims without having to throw a lift kit on there. So if you really want to make this thing an off-road boss, you can throw 32s on there, and there's really nothing that's going to be able to stop this machine. And as we head to the back of the machine here, you will notice that CFMOTO has continued with their super modern LED taillights that are very bright, makes it very easy for people to see you on the trail. Now, this being a utility machine, CFMOTO did make sure to give you a 2-inch receiver, and the U10 Pro is capable of towing up to 1,500 pounds. Now, what's really cool is CFMOTO did make sure that this tailgate is going to be able to hold up to whatever you can throw on it. It's rated for 330 pounds max capacity on just the tailgate. So if you want to sit up on there, take a little rest, or you're loading stuff up onto there, it's perfectly capable of holding up to whatever you might throw at it. What's really cool is they did give you your kind of yardstick measurement here. So if you need to measure any kind of rope, logs, fish, whatever it may be, they give you a really easy place to do that right at the back of the machine. Now, this cargo bed is rated for 1,000 pounds cargo capacity. What's really cool is you do get the CF Connect accessory attachment system, very similar to Link Q and the lock and ride systems from Can-Am and Polaris. There are a ton of accessories that you can put on these UFORCE U10 Pros. Even though they are a pretty fully loaded machine, I mean, they're coming standard from factory with side mirrors on them. They got those LED accessory lights. They give you these super premium leather style upholstered seats that are very comfortable. Nice and soft, but they give you a decent amount of support. And they have those little bolsters to help keep you in place. Let's say you're taking this machine out on the trails and it just rained and you found yourself facing a really questionable mud pit right in front of you. Well, you don't have to worry, because on the left of the steering wheel you have this selector dial. You can flip that over to 4-wheel drive and make sure that you do have it in four-wheel by seeing that all the wheels are highlighted in yellow. That means they potentially can get power to them. So now you can head on into that questionable mud pits, and now you're gonna get stuck. Not really. You can go back to this selector dial again and switch it to the right, and now you're gonna be in four-wheel drive lock. And if you need even more traction than that, you can go to the right here where it says Turf R-Lock. You can hit that button, and what that's gonna do is this will lock out your rear differential, whereas the selector dial, that's locking out your front. And you can verify what kind of drive mode you're in by looking at the 8-inch TFT screen. The yellow lock symbols mean your diffs are locked, and the wheels highlighted in yellow means they potentially can get power. So what I mean by that, if we unlock the differentials, you'll notice those locks are no longer highlighted, but the wheels remained yellow. That's because it's now open diff, so the power is gonna go to the wheels with the least amount of traction. If you notice you're spinning, not going anywhere, that's where you can throw it into full lock and then get out of any sort of sticky situation you may be in. And after locking out the differentials, if you are still stuck and not able to get any forward motion, CFMOTO did make your life a lot easier by giving you the winch, but they also finally gave you an in-dash winch control, which is super nice. You no longer have to use that corded remote, which CFMOTO was nice enough to still give you up in the front glove box here. So if you need to, you do have a wired winch remote. So if you really got this thing stuck, you can use that winch to pull yourself out. But really, winches seem to always be for pulling other people out. And while we're in the cabin here, you will notice this kind of selector dial. This is gonna be how you go through some of the functions on this TFT dash here. This is a really cool display. It has navigation functionality. It does have AM, FM radio, which is gonna play through the MB Court stereo system that's right behind your head there. And then you do have Bluetooth functionality as well, so you can pair your phone to that. It does have Apple CarPlay. Another really cool feature that they packed into these TFT displays is going to be their Bluetooth connectivity for headsets. Bluetooth communicators are getting very popular on the trail nowadays, so you can keep in contact with all your riding buddies, even if you're not, riding right next to each other, you're not in the same unit. You guys can stay in communication and coordinate your ride. And there's a lot more to this dash that I can't fit in this one video. So make sure to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for a more in-depth TFT dash tutorial. And when we're down here as well, this is how you're gonna be able to skip tracks, go to the next station with these buttons right here. And down at this jog wheel that you use for that TFT dash, you will notice where it says mode. There are two different engine drive modes on this U10 Pro. First is gonna be normal. If you hit that mode button, it's gonna go over into work. That's gonna essentially change the throttle response to this machine. Work's gonna feel a little more muted or progressive of a power delivery. It's gonna be a little softer on takeoff, where normal is gonna be a little more aggressive. That's what you're gonna wanna use if you're trail riding. It's gonna be a little bit more sporty than the work tuning. Another really handy thing that CFMOTO has done is they added a descent control as well. So if you're heading down a steep hill, you don't wanna be sitting on the brakes, you can hit that descent control. I just turned it off there. Now it's on, and that's gonna control how fast it's descending any kind of incline. They did also give you an electronic parking brake, which is pretty cool being that this is a utility vehicle. So let's say you're towing 1,500 pounds of a bunch of rocks or logs, whatever it may be. You're towing it up a hill and you need to stop for whatever reason and you want to get going again. You can use this parking brake so you don't have to be standing on the foot brake. You can add a little gas to get the revs up, and that way you can just take off going uphill without having to worry about, oh, all that weight's pulling you downhill, and then you really got to step on the throttle to get moving up. This is where you'll have some functionality for the Apple CarPlay if you need to use some voice commands. And then this is really the party piece for this U10 Pro. So this machine, as it sits, MSRP is under $20,000, and yet they gave you this awesome switch. I'm gonna press that and hold it. What that does, that's gonna lift your cargo bed. So let's say you threw 1,000 pounds of payload in that bed. You can just hit that switch and that'll dump it all out. And that's where you're gonna get access to this all new 3-cylinder 998cc dual overhead cam engine that is making an extremely smooth 88 horsepower and 69 pound-feet of torque. And it's gonna be putting all that power through their brand new Omni Drive CVT transmission. Now what's really cool with this drivetrain, being that it's a 3-cylinder engine and not a V-twin, is CFMOTO has been able to put that exhaust out the cylinder head and just feed it straight back out of the machine. So you no longer have a hot exhaust pipe that's sitting right at the back of the cab. We've had a lot of customers with some other machines that have V-twins or just different drivetrain configurations that put that exhaust pretty much into the cab right underneath you. And in summertime, a lot of people feel a lot of heat coming from those machines. With the U10 Pro, you're not gonna have that issue. It's just feeding the exhaust straight out the back. And that does allow one other really cool thing that I like for any utility vehicle, especially being that maintenance is key for anything you're looking to use for work. And if we lift this passenger seat up, it's very easy, not so easy with one hand. It's just a little big, but we lift that up. It just uses some grommets on these little pegs back here. And we have this little cover, we can pull that out of the way. And now we have access to our air filter. So we really didn't have to remove too much. No tools required to get to that air filter. It's really nice that CFMOTO gave you such easy access to the air filter, especially for Wisconsin, where we get some pretty dusty trails. The number one reason we see any motors fail is because of dirt ingestion. So you always want to keep an eye on your air filter just to make sure you're pulling in clean air. It's always wise to bring a spare air filter with you just in case. This is our first shipment of these UFORCE U10 Pros. Make sure to stop on in and check them out while we have their full selection of colors here. So we have a camo, this awesome metallic red, which is my personal favorite, and then we have the classic metallic black, all in stock at this moment. So hurry on in at Cedar Creek Motorsports. Make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment with anything else you would like to know about these CFMOTOs, or let us know what you would like to see from us in the future. Thanks for watching. Let's get riding.